Hi, this is George Jenkins, and I'm the assistant coach for the women's rowing team here at Sacramento State University. Due to the abnormally high flow rate through Lake Natoma, which is formed by the American River, we've had a number of people ask us, how does that affect racing on the course, and does it favor one side of the course or the other? So in response to that, I went out and did some very informal testing and tried to get most of it on video so that you can watch it and then form your own conclusions. I would say that rule of thumb, we feel that for every 1,000 cubic feet per second going through the dam, it subtracts about 1 second from the time. So a 7-minute time with 15,000 cubic feet per second would come up as about 6:45. I made this video on May 2nd. That's the Wednesday before the Southwest Junior Regionals here at Lake Natoma, and the current on that day was 15,000 CFS. That equates to something over 110,000 gallons per second. So that's a rodeo. That's a lot of water going through the dam. We prefer to race here at about 1,000 cubic feet per second or less if we can negotiate that with the Department of Reclamation, who controls the dam. But because the dam above us at Folsom Lake is also very full and the inflows into that dam are still pretty high, they can't shut down the flow through the river very much. For you guys that are racing here in the near future, it will be lower than that for the junior championships this weekend, and it's planning to go down to at least 8,500 CFS before the Pac-12 and West Coast Conference championships that are coming up the following weekend. And for the IRAs and beyond, it should probably be a little bit lower than that. The staff here at the Aquatic Center is also negotiating to see if they can get it even lower than that during the racing times of those days, but that remains to be seen. Okay, a couple notes about the video. Basically what I did is went out and threw some PFDs, some just, throwable flotation devices in the lane 1, lane 4, and lane 7, and then watched as they went down to see if you could determine which side of the course had more flow than the other side. In a number of places, I've sped up the video just to try to keep the whole thing a little bit shorter. It's still almost 15 minutes long, and it's not shown in quite the same order in which I videotaped it. I started at the 1,000 and then went and videotaped at about the 350 to go, and then went back up the course to the breakage zone and shot a little more video. For the sake of continuity, it's shown start line, 1,000-meter mark, then down towards the finish. And if you want to skip all this, you can go to the last minute or two of the video for my thoughts on how this affects lane choice and lane assignment. Also, there's a good website from the state of California that shows how much water is flowing through Lake Natoma at any given time. It's not real time, but it's pretty close, and I'll put a link to that website in the comments of this video.
Okay, we're going to do this test one more time. We are at the end of the braking zone, so we are 100 meters into the race course up at the top, and this last line of red buoys here is the end of the breakage zone. We're going to toss them in here again. Pretty good current up here. We're going to throw these back a little bit so that you can see the material pushing on the buoys. This is lane 7. Those other two buoys have both moved almost 20 meters. So I'm going to throw this in at the 20-meter mark, which puts it about even with lane 4, but lane 1 was already 5 meters ahead from where I threw that one in. So yeah, definitely much more push up here at this end of the lake than down lower. This line of buoys would be 40 meters of travel I would say that lane 1 is moving the fastest, but it's not moving much faster than lane 4, like pretty close there. It does look like lane 7 is slower at this end of the course. Remember that the starting line of the course is right at the end of a turn, so the current should be flowing to the outside edge of the turn and then going down the lake, and that would make sense here. Lane 1 and lane 4 pretty close. I would say within the margin of error. That buoy that they're going, lane 1 is going through the buoy now. 60 meters. Lane 2 just went through it. I would say the lane 7 buoy is about 50 meters. The lane 1 buoy is now going off into lane 0, essentially, over into the return lane. And the lane 4 buoy has crossed over into lane 3. Both of those just went through 20, 40, 60, 80 meters. That line right straight ahead is 80. They're both approaching about 90 meters up. The lane 7 buoy back here is about 70 meters. But lane 4 and lane 3 definitely moving together, although they have moved closer together. But the current is definitely faster towards lane 1 up at this end of the course. Okay, here we are at the 1,000 meter mark of the course. And we're going to drop a flotation device in lanes 1, 3, and 7. Lane 2, 3, 4. And this is lane 7 right here. All the buoys, all of these have already moved about 15 feet just since I've thrown them in. So we'll get them pretty much even there. Looks like the middle one is a little bit back. Well, I can tell you clearly that the lane 1 one is moving much faster than the lane 4 or lane 7 ones are. So after a very short time, the lane 4 and 7 buoys have moved about 25 to 30 meters. And the lane 1 buoy, if you can see it over there, has moved closer to 60. Lane 4 has just passed the 40 meter mark, or has traveled 40 meters. Lane 7 just going by 40 meters. And if you can see it over there, lane 1 has just gone through 80 meters from the 1,000 meter mark. It's traveled 80 meters. Here. Lane 4 just passing 60 meters. Lane 1 just passing 100 meters. Lane 7 at about 50 meters. Lane 1, 120 meters. Lane 7 is through the 60 meter buoy, sort of 65 meters. Lane 4, just coming up on 80 meters. Looks like lane 1 is just this. Set 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. That's lane 4 at 90. Lane 7 at about 80. Lane 1 also looks like it's drifted into lane 2, so I may have to go over and reset that one. We have a slight southeast wind here. Probably going to push these over a little. Okay, we're going to try the, we're going to put the floats in the water again. This is at about the 350 meter mark where the observation deck is. We're just going to toss these all in on the same buoy line. So this is approximately 350 meters left on the course. South by southwest, I would say 3 or 4 miles an hour. Lane 7's in. Lane 6, lane 5. This is lane 4. Throwing it out a little bit to get it to match the other one. All 3 buoys are essentially even. At this point, I would say the outside lane is clearly moving faster than the inside lane. And all the buoys are also pushing towards lane 7, or all the floats are pushing a little bit towards lane 7 as we go too. Lane 1 moved, not very much. Lane 4 and 7 moving about the same. Lane 1 moving slower. And this buoy line here is 40 meters from where I threw them in. Given that I didn't throw them in a super precise manner, I would say that's within the margin of error. I would say 4 and 7 are essentially even. And right now lane 1 is 20 meters back. Lane 4 and 7 continue to move essentially even. Lane 4. Just lane 4 is going a little bit faster than lane 7 right now. Lane 7 is also about outside the course, but it's reset. Both of these two are now 30 meters, maybe slightly more, 30 to 35 meters ahead of lane 1. But again, moving pretty evenly. The lane 4 buoy was moving a little faster there for a second, but now it seems like they've evened out again. So yeah, here's the lane 4 buoy that's across the lane 5 is actually blown over one lane. It's really got to go. So this set of red buoys is the 250 meters to go buoy that we've gone about 110 meters with these buoys, and they've drifted out of the lane far enough that I'm going to reset these.
All right, so that video was a little jumbly, but hopefully it gives you some idea of what's going on out there on the race course. And I just wanted to show you a couple things here before we wrapped up. So here's a simple map of the lake. And you can see that the race course is represented in here by this gray box. So if we watch what's going on with the current, basically we're going to get the current coming pretty much straight down the lake. And then as it comes into that corner section, it will follow the outside of the turn and then take a straight path down the race course. And it doesn't really go parallel with the race course. And again, I don't know this for sure, but this is my idea about how this works. Is it's going just a little off axis to the race course, and when it gets to where the south shore of the course starts to close in a little bit, it gets turned up again, and then in some fashion the main part of that flow of that stream crosses back over to the other side of the course. And I don't know if this curve is exactly accurate or not, but something like this is happening. And then it heads to the open gates, which are usually on the north side of the dam over there. So if it were me, and I'm not going to make this decision for anybody else, but if it were me, I would rather have my team in lane 1. I think that you get a little more current on the lane 1 side of the course for a longer way down, but I don't think it's a huge effect. And hopefully as they start to turn the flow down in the dam as the season goes on, the effect will be minimal at best. Okay, hope that helps. Good luck with the rest of your season, and we'll see you soon here at Lake Natoma.